Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Juma Mubarak, and welcome to this Friday Reflections on the 29th of August 2025. There you go, 29th of August. Summer almost over. We're coming to the autumn already. And this surah that we are studying at the moment also deals with the transition of time and how we handle that and how we manage our time, and has life and leadership lessons, because we are still studying this book, Life and Leadership Lessons from Surah al-Kahf by Professor Dr. Hassan Mohi-ud-Din Qadri. We're going to move to page 27 today, the preface of the surah, Bismillahir-Rahim. The opening verses of Surah al-Kahf offer a deep introduction to the chapter's central themes: divine revelation, the fleeting nature of worldly life, and the trials faced on the path of truth. These verses also highlight, these verses also highlight the emotional weight borne by those who lead with sincerity, especially when faced with disbelief and resistance. For leaders, whether spiritual, intellectual, or corporate, they offer a timeless framework for reflecting on responsibility, authenticity, and long-term vision in a rapidly changing world. The following is a verse-by-verse brief reflection on verses 1 to 8 from a leadership and a spiritual perspective. So verse 1 begins, "All praise belongs to Allah, who revealed the book to his esteemed servant and did not allow any deviation to be in it." This verse affirms the divine authorship of the Quran and its flawless consistency. It sets the tone by emphasizing that the Quran is free from distortion, bending neither in truth nor principle. From leadership perspective, it is a call to uphold clarity, transparency, integrity in mission, in the message and in the mission. Verse 2. He has made it perfectly upright. He has made it perfectly upright to warn the disbelievers of severe punishment from him, and to give glad tidings to the believers who perform righteous deeds, that there shall be a beautiful reward for them. The Quran is described as qiyima, straight and upright. Its purpose is twofold: to warn and to give glad tidings. Leadership requires the same balance, guiding with wisdom, cautioning against danger, and uplifting those who walk in the path of virtue. And I think this is something that I often get asked about. We see here in this verse where it mentions severe punishment. And I covered a little bit of this on my Sotbet on Monday, where I was mentioning another verse which mentions a severe punishment. But all of these verses are within the same verse. It contains also glad tidings. And the previous verse, it was the next verse, so the one I mentioned on Monday, it's in the next verse. It's always immediately followed by glad tidings for the righteous, for the believers, for the good people. So the severe punishment or the chastisement is only for those who bring it upon themselves effectively. Now this, as the Sheikh is mentioning here, is a leadership lesson. And this leadership lesson is something which, in all manner of fields, it doesn't matter whether we're talking about religion or spirituality or business, the corporate world, in government, you need to have that balance, and if you step out of line and do the wrong things, if you become corrupt, if you, do things which undermine the business or the government or things like this, then ultimately there will be a punishment, there will be a consequence, there will be something eventually, even if it doesn't happen straight away. And simultaneously, if you do the right things, there will be a reward. This is also something that the Hindus refer to as karma. It's basically the same principle. Verse 3, wherein they shall stay forever. This brief verse extends the promise of permanence in reward for the righteous. It reflects the idea of long-term success, which for both the believer and the visionary leader is not measured by immediate results, but by enduring legacy and sustained well-being. And there's a very important point there, because you will not see immediate results usually with what you do. Whether you are doing something like working on yourself, personal development, you're working on your spirituality, or whether you open a business, or even through a standard career trajectory, it's not going to happen overnight. You're not going to get that promotion overnight if you start with a company. It's going to take time. But if you put the effort in and do what you need to do in order to progress, then one way or another you will progress. Verse 4, and to warn those who say Allah has taken a son. Here the Quran firmly warns against theological deviations. It underlines the importance of accuracy in belief and doctrine. For those in positions of influence, it is a reminder that clarity in belief and values is non-negotiable. Now, in this day and age, with the number of people who are preaching on, I know I'm also on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok, but there's a lot of people on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, and some of them are saying the most outlandish things, which are not based in fact, reality, or science, groundless. And yet they say them with absolute conviction and create confusion for people, as I discussed in more depth in my subreddit on Monday. And here we see Allah is warning against this in the Quran, against theological deviations, against misguidance. And especially if you are someone in a position of authority, whether that authority be spiritual, whether that authority be in business or in the political world, or even just as an influencer in media. If you have that kind of authority, if you have people listening to you or obeying you in one form or another, it applies within the military sphere, of course, as well, then there is a tremendous responsibility for clarity and values. And if you deviate from that, it creates immense problems, both for yourself and especially for those who follow you. Verse 5, they have no knowledge about this, nor did their forefathers. It is a grievous utterance that comes out of their mouth, and they say nothing but lie. This verse exposes the baselessness of fabricated beliefs and stresses the weight of words. In leadership, truthfulness, knowledge-based decision-making, and accountability in communication are crucial. Words matter, and falsehood has consequences. This is a theme that runs throughout the Quran. And Allah tells us in the Quran that truth stands out clear from error. So ultimately, all lies will be exposed. All fabrications will either collapse or be exposed. It's like the analogy of the house of cards. Or Jesus made an analogy of a house built on a firm foundation of stone or a house built on sand. Same principle running through all of these. If you have a house built on sand or a house of cards, it will come crumbling down. However, if you have based it on a firm foundation, not upon falsehood, then you stand a good chance of succeeding, whether that is spiritually, whether that is in business, whether that is in any field. And there's a very simple principle for that, because if you're based in reality, then you will succeed. If you are basing your decisions, your business, so many things upon figments of your imagination or delusions, of course it will come falling apart. It doesn't take much to work out. So to ensure that you have the facts available to you and to act upon them is really one of the most vital things. Verse 6, yet, O Prophet, perhaps you will consume yourself with grief for their sake if they do not believe in this message, i.e. the Quran. A deeply emotional verse. It reveals the Prophet's sorrow at people's rejection of truth. It is a powerful portrait of the emotional toll that true leadership can carry. Compassionate leaders often grieve silently for those they wish to help but cannot reach. And this, again, is what distinguishes a true leader from a charlatan or somebody who's a boss. We use the term boss a lot in English. A boss is just the person who's in the position. The boss could be a good boss or a bad boss. Bad boss doesn't really care about his employees, but this is really, he's shooting himself in the foot. True leadership is about leading people, and leading people means you actually care about those people as well. You want them to succeed because the success of the people who are working for you, working alongside you or under you within your company or within your organization or your country, those people's success ensures your success. If they fail, you fail because you depend upon them. No man is an island, or woman. Verse 7. Indeed, we have made whatever is on the earth an adornment for it, that we may test them as to which of them is best in conduct. The world's beauty is acknowledged, but as a test, not as a destination. Leadership that is grounded in faith must discern between transient glitter and eternal value. It's not what shines most that matters, it's what endures through deeds. Now, some people think that is only a spiritual lesson. That's only something that applies to the religious field. But this applies just as much within the business world, also within military campaigns, and within governments as well. Because sometimes things can appear to be good. They can, at first sight, appear to be either valuable or a good opportunity, or, it could be an oasis in the desert. So many examples of this. And unless we check, unless we ensure that it really is what it's offering, we can fall into big traps. And those traps could be expensive or dangerous, even life-threatening. So not to be swayed by things that, even if you're in pursuit of dunya in the business world, not to be swayed by everything that glitters is a really important lesson. Because you cannot even be successful in the dunya if you are swayed by every distraction. Verse 8. And we shall surely turn whatever is upon it into a barren plain. A sobering reminder of the fleeting nature of worldly life. Even the most beautiful achievements fade. The verse calls on leaders and individuals alike to invest in what transcends ethics, purpose, and divine proximity. As something that my dad taught me when I was very young, he said, Paul, you cannot take riches with you when you die. You cannot take houses with you or other properties when you die. You can take none of the things of this world with you when you die. The only thing that will go with you is your legacy. That means how you treated people and what you learned. These things you can carry with you. These things are what you're going to be assessed upon after your soul leaves this life. But none of these material possessions are going to be able to be taken with you. Everything in this world is like, if you look at the trees now, some of them are already starting to lose their leaves. Within the next couple of months, all of the deciduous trees would have lost their leaves. Their beauty fades, just like the spring blossom did. And eventually those trees will also die. And new trees will replace them, or something else. This is the nature of this world. To have a grip on that reality ensures our success. But if we try to delude ourselves into thinking the things here are permanent, and we don't get in tune to the fact that they're not, then we risk a lot of heartache and pain. And also it will affect our ability to be successful, even here. So leadership lessons that we can take from this surah. The purity of message, number one. Leaders should ensure that the purity and integrity of their message or vision, like the Quran, A leader's guidance must remain free from deviation and distortion. Number two, guidance and incentives. Leaders must provide both warnings and incentives. They should caution against harmful actions and offer rewards or encouragement for for positive contributions to motivate their followers. Three, long-term vision. Leaders should instill a sense of long-term vision and purpose. Just as believers are promised a beautiful eternal reward, leaders must articulate a vision that extends beyond the immediate goals. Four, knowledge and truth. Leaders should emphasize the importance of accurate knowledge. The warning against false belief in Allah having a son underscores the significance of truth in leadership and advocates for well-informed decision-making. Five, empathy and emotional intelligence. Acknowledging the potential grief for the Prophet highlights the importance of empathy and emotional intelligence in leadership. Leaders should understand and address the emotional needs of their followers. Six, testing and conduct. Leaders should recognize that challenges and tests are inherent in leadership, indeed in life. The world is portrayed as a test in its verses, emphasizing the importance of ethical conduct and resilience when facing trials. Seven, the transient nature of success. Leaders should understand the transient nature of material success. The verses remind leaders that worldly possessions and achievements are temporary, encouraging them to concentrate on lasting and meaningful goals. Eight, transformation and adaptability. The mention of turning everything into a barren plain signifies transformation. Leaders should be adaptable and open to change, recognizing that circumstances may evolve, and they need to guide their followers through the various phases. Nine, balancing material and spiritual values. Leaders should find harmony between material and spiritual values. While the world is portrayed as an adornment, leaders should guide their followers to recognize the significance of ethical conduct and spiritual well-being. And 10, purposeful leadership. Leaders should lead with intention and clarity. The verses underscore the purpose behind the adornment of the world as a test, emphasizing the need for leaders to guide with a clear sense of direction and purpose. Conclusion. In the sacred rhythm of Surah al-Kahf's opening verses lies a call not just to faith, but to conscious leadership. These verses whisper into the hearts of those who lead that the truest success is not built on profit margins, but on the purity of purpose. Like the Quran, whose message is free from deviation, leaders must guard their integrity of their mission, resisting the seductions of fleeting gains. The emotional weight borne by the Prophet ﷺ in these verses mirrors the silent burden of sincere leaders who carry the responsibility of vision, truth, and transformation. The world, with all its beauty, is but a passing test. So let not its glitter blind the soul from what truly matters. True leadership is not just strategy and scale, it is clarity without distortion, empathy without exhaustion, resilience rooted in higher calling. Those who lead with both heart and wisdom will find that the path of purpose outlasts the illusions of temporary triumph, and the echoes of righteous decisions will endure far beyond the quarterly report into eternity. I hope you find that useful to reflect upon. If you're wondering again what book I'm reading from, this is Life and Leadership Lessons from Surah al-Kahf by Professor Dr. Hassan Mohi-ud-Din Qadri, and it was published this year in 2025. So hot off the press, very interesting book to read. I've been thoroughly enjoying it, and I'm sure you will too. I wish you all a very good evening and pray you have a wonderful weekend. May Allah bless you all. And if you are finding these video podcasts and my other content useful, please don't forget to click on the link as to subscribe, to buy me a coffee, and also to like and share the video, because all of that helps me to be able to produce content. And Inshallah, I hope in future to improve the quality of my content and do much more things than what I'm doing at the moment. But for that, my brothers and sisters, I do need your support. So please don't forget to like the videos, to subscribe, to share them if you find them useful, and also to click on the link to buy me a coffee, which is on my profile, and to contribute something if you can. Even if it's only £5 a month, it all helps. Thank you so much, and I wish you all the very best. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. May the peace and blessings of God be with you all.